But I am supposed to move us into slightly more rugby-based chat, if possible. And you played for Eddie Jones, club and country. What was your reaction to England letting him go, and then the Wallabies signing him up very, very quickly after?
Yes, it was really strange, wasn't it? I think it shocked everyone, but from putting the Aussie hat on, I'm really happy that Eddie's back in Australia. Rugby, it's fantastic for us. I think everyone's talking rugby, but then it's a results-based business, isn't it? And I think now Ian Borthwick's had a great career as an assistant coach working under Eddie at Japan and with England, and he's done a great job as a head coach with Leicester, but it's just a different animal now. He's the gaffer now, isn't he? So it's his responsibility, and it's brutal. It's kind of ruthless in terms of just so results-driven, and if you don't get it, you get moved on. And fair play, not whilst we're talking about it, fair play to Scotland with Gregor Townsend, because I think there's been always those murmurings at times, but they've stuck with him. And I'm being a fan, the way they're playing, and obviously I'm showing my age. I played against Gregor and I just loved how he played. He's one of those guys who could play flat and attack. It's very intelligent how he played, and you see lots of that coming through with the Scottish play. Over a period of time, surrounded with the right group of players, preparing in a certain way, it takes time, but then you see the results. So, yeah, it's a hard one, but international sport's tough like that.
Do you think it's weird that England didn't have that same clause that I think Dave Rennie's got, the no-compete clause? Do you think it was weird they didn't put that on Eddie Jones? Yeah,
I think the no-compete, it's pretty bizarre, I think, for a coach. You're sort of denying them. Where could he compete? You're talking about international rugby.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that England just allowed him to go out there and coach another team that could potentially play against them in a World Cup.
Yeah, well, we sort of did that. Wallabies did that in 2005, said goodbye. By 2007, he's assistant coach with South Africa, with Jake White coaching. We weren't good enough to get to meet them. We got knocked out by England in the quarterfinal, but potentially we would have been playing against Eddie. So you talk about rugby IP, part of that's gone to wherever he's coached. But I think that's the beauty of rugby. I think if you stop international coaches applying their trade elsewhere, then the game doesn't necessarily grow. And I think what he's done, and I'll use him as an example, like Robbie Deans, he's in Japan doing a great job. He coached New Zealand, he didn't coach the All Blacks, then we got him across. We got the Crusaders saying, you can't go over international rugby because you've got New Zealand rugby IP from coaching the Crusaders. I think that's, I personally, I don't like that, because I think it's really important that quality people, quality coaches get to apply their trade wherever they can, because I think whoever they go to is going to benefit from it, and ultimately the game grows from it.
It will be very interesting though, won't it? It'll be very interesting. England meet Australia in a...
Oh, it's going to be tasty.
Also, George, we've had a couple of people on the show who were kind of isolated away from that England squad under Eddie, who were given a chance they're not given, and you can imagine there's going to be scores to settle if it does end up in that in a sort of knockout game, eh?
Yeah, definitely. There'll be lots. We're talking about it now. It's a fair way away. There's a bit of rugby to be played between now and that potentially occurring, but. Yeah, everyone's got a different relationship with their head coach or their coaches, plural. But I think that it will be spicy. But on the flip side, which I find always interesting with Eddie, you never hear the people who he's really, he's changed their careers. He's given them an opportunity to become international players or beyond that, a Super Rugby player. And a lot of people don't see it, but he sees it. And he challenges it and brings the best out of that player over time by giving them the tools. And I can tell you so many stories of that, having seen it, being part of it. But it's really interesting. I think great coaches do that. He's definitely a great coach. You mentioned someone like Dave Rennie. He's a great coach too in terms of that. I think coaches are teachers, and not everyone liked their teacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are there any that come off the top of your head that you're thinking, he really did have an impact? And
I think Jim Williams is a good example for me. Jimmy Williams was a winger playing for Warringah Rats, where Gregor Townsend played with Abdul Benazir. They came over and had a season playing in Australia and enjoying the northern beaches and applying their trade. And
4x gold.
Yeah, but not in New South Wales.
No,
it would be to his new, mate. To his new.
Is that too bogan, is it, the 4x?
No, 4x is up in Queensland. To his new. Down in Melbourne, the Carlton draft. He's just getting that East Coast sort of flavour. That's no worries, mate. But with Jimmy Williams, he came from Warringah, the Warringah Rats, as a winger. he's having the one-on-one, and Eddie sort of said to him, mate, Jimmy, you're going to come down here. He says, what do you want to do in terms of position you want to play? He says, I want to be a wing. He says, well, that's going to be a struggle for you because we've got Joe Roff. I think we had a young Mark Bartholomew's. We had some good wingers going around. He's saying, so, mate, you're not going to come down here and play as a winger. I'm going to make you into a world-class number 8. So he kind of laughed a bit. Jimmy, come on. And he says, no. Like, you kind of play number 8 sort of sevens, which isn't number 8, but like in the forwards. He says, you move really well. You got good skills, really fast, strong, athletic. Handling's going to be really good. I said, we're going to turn you into a number 8, world-class number 8. He couldn't believe it. But then he put a program and said, you're going to put on X amount of kilos. You're going to do this in the training, and we're going to work you as a back row. You're going to learn from this. And he was really good. He had all this athletic speed around, so running back rower, could pick and drive quick to the ball, had good handling skills, and ended up becoming a member of the Wallabies, which won the 99 World Cup. So, like, that's the story. It doesn't get told a lot, but that's Jim Williams. He transformed him from a club player as a winger into a World Cup winning number 8. And it's amazing how he'll back that person, he'll give them that picture, and he'll give them the tools to go there. But no, I think there's lots and lots of those types of stories.
Do you reckon Eddie Jones, in your experience, may have crushed some players, like fledgling professionals?
He coaches hard.
Yeah.
And not everyone can be coached hard, and he's evolved. I was coached by Eddie in 97, 98 when he took over the Brumbies, and I was coached my last year with Eddie in Japan, which was with Suntory. And the evolution, he's no different to a player. He evolves, and there's a softer edge to Eddie compared to, say, 20 odd years ago. But he's going to challenge his players. He'll want them lean, strong, focused, preparing as well as they possibly can to go and perform as consistently as they can and make decisions. Like, he's really big on passing that on to the leadership group, which I really do like. But I think he's I've said it before, he's the best coach I had. And I think that word leadership group and your core leaders are really, really important, to work with the coaches and to work with the playing group to make sure the messaging is all based around that consistent performance and getting better. And if you drop off that stuff, it just comes back and bites you so badly. And you go, wow, we didn't, we probably should have brought that up at the time. Because we were missing that at practice. So if you're missing it at practice, you're missing it during the games, all that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think that approach from Eddie is it gets results. Does it get long-term results for certain personalities? Maybe not. But I think has he really improved? I think his man management, but I think he's always been really good with promoting leaders to make decisions on the field. I think that's never going to change with Eddie. He really hands it over to the leadership group to take responsibility. Then he puts his hand up and he'll take full responsibility for the performance. But no, I think that's the strength of the man.